Liverpool. Hello, submariners. It is Wednesday, November 16th. I'm going to stop speaking. I don't even know what accent that was. Oi, mate! Welcome to my video. Okay, sorry. Hi. Okay, so I thought I was going to discuss the Beatle history for last week because there was a lot that happened there. It was really life-changing in the Beatle area, if you know what I mean. So let's take a look at the Beatle history from last week. Here we go.
Just let me hear some of that rock and roll music. Any old way you choose it. It's got a backbeat, you can't lose it. Why you cried and why you lied to me. Here I stand, head in hand, turn my face to the wall.
Number 9, number 9, number 9, number 9, number 9, number 9.
Okay, yeah. That Beatle history was pretty interesting. There were 3 major events. Number 1, Brian Epstein. I don't know. Some people say Epstein. Well, anyway, Brian. We'll just call him Brian because he's Brian. Brian came to the cavern and he discovered the Beatles, and the rest is history. So that was a really important point in Beatle history. The second really weird point that I just thought this was so weird. There's a lot of speculations about Paul and you know, supposedly he's dead and replaced by a lookalike, which I do not believe. I do not believe that theory, but for the people who do believe that theory and the people who aren't very fond of Yoko Ono, this would be rather interesting. The day that Paul supposedly died, and then as well, and that is rather suspicious if you ask me. Now, I just want to point out again that I do not believe in the Paul is dead theory. After I saw that it was like that, I searched for Paul McCartney. I actually don't know what I searched for, but it was on Google. I was on Google, and this really weird picture popped out, and I'll show it to you guys right now.
Number 9, number 9, number 9, number 9.
I'm sorry, but that picture is just hilarious. Oh God, I know you're not supposed to joke about other people's deaths and stuff. I'm not that stupid, but I mean, just the whole fact that Paul would be dead is so absurd to me that I just find this really funny. Now, I want to point out that in no way, shape, or form do I hate Yoko. I don't even dislike her or anything. And I know that a lot of Beatle fans dislike Yoko. But I don't. I actually like Yoko, and I think she's really cool. And obviously, she made John happy. In all the pictures that he's with her, he has a smile on his face. And there's a reason that he didn't want her to leave the studio. There's a reason that he wanted her to be with him all the time. It's because she made him happy, and he really truly loved her. At least that's what I believe. I mean, I didn't know John or Yoko personally, but I mean, you can see true love in photos, and people are so into, you know, Paul and Linda, and oh, they love Linda, and they think that she's such a lovely woman. I have nothing against Linda either, but Paul brought Linda with him to the studio all the time, just as John brought Yoko to the studio all the time, and yet all the hate seems to lie on Yoko. And I think it's just because Yoko is a very different person. She was very different from Linda, whereas Linda was like your ordinary next door girl until she became vegetarian and all that stuff. But I think that's the major reason why people dislike Yoko. Remember that this is just my opinion. I'm not telling you guys what to think or believe or anything. This is just my theory, and I'm just talking straight from my heart about what I believe about the Beatles story. Now, I think the Beatles would have definitely broken up even if John hadn't met Yoko, because you could tell that there was tension building within the band. Paul wanted to go one way with the music, John wanted to go one way, and George and Ringo were stuck in the middle. I mean, they felt totally unappreciated, and George had tons of great songs. For example, you can look at Something. That's a great song. Even Frank Sinatra called it his favorite love song of all time. For Frank Sinatra to say that, that's a pretty huge achievement. So, I mean, imagine how many great George songs we could have heard if they would have let him on the albums from the beginning. So I think they were just all getting tired of each other, and they just wanted to split up. That's what I truly believe. There was too much tension between the band, and it was neither Yoko or Linda's fault. And I've heard that Paul was very, very, very bossy. I do believe that he might be a very bossy person, because, I mean, he is good at what he does and he knows what he's doing, so in that, he kind of has a right to be bossy, but not to the point where it takes over other people's right to, like, express themselves. And I think that's what happened in the Beatles. Now, I'm not saying that it was just Paul's fault. It was a factor of everybody. And then, plus, when Yoko and Linda arrived and they were sitting in the studio, it was kind of ticking everybody off. In the Let It Be movie, for example, when George has that fight with Paul, that kind of shows that George is kind of undermined by Paul, but George really didn't know what he was doing, and he was a very, very talented musician. And I think that both John and Paul should have given him a fair shot. And that didn't really happen until the last two albums. Enough talk about this, and enough of my stupid speculations. Once again, I want to say, I like Yoko Ono a lot. I love her art. I think it's really cool, and I think it's really despicable that people would say things like they'd rather Yoko died instead of John, and things like that. Because if you're a true Beatle fan and you honestly wish that that would have happened, then, I mean, you obviously don't care about the feelings of John, because if Yoko would have passed away instead of John, then I mean, he would have been left alone with Sean and Julian, which he was getting closer with, by the way. And I mean, John would have been devastated. Yoko is the love of his life. He loved her dearly, truly and dearly. If she would have been the one who died, I mean, I can't even believe how John would have felt. He would have been so upset and so sad. And so that's why I see no reason in the people who say that. It's just, I think it's horrible that you would say something like that. As a Beatle fan, as a John fan, I think it's disgraceful. But I mean, if you feel that way, then I think you should keep your opinion to yourself, because it's a really horrible thing to say that you wish someone else had died instead of what actually happened. Because we really have no control over what happens, and I mean, that's just what happened now, and we have to accept that. We can't go around saying that, you know. I just think that's really bad, so I'm not angry or anything. I just think that that's not appropriate at all, even. I mean, it shouldn't even come to people's minds to say something like that. Okay, enough seriousness. I'm usually not this serious. Well, yeah, I can be, but it's much more fun to be silly, so